The following program was produced by the Renaissance Center, creating television with passion and purpose. In partnership with the Tennessee Arts Commission, a grant-making agency working so the citizens of Tennessee have access to the arts and the opportunity to participate in the arts. This is accomplished in part from the sale of university, specialty, and personalized license plates, providing grant dollars for cultural activities to every community in Tennessee. The arts add value to the lives of our citizens and make Tennessee a better place to live. Additional information is available at arts.state.tn.us.
The Greek philosopher Plato once said, "The life of man in every part has need of harmony and rhythm." Ruth Barber and Keith Watson understand what Plato meant. This husband and wife duo lived a traditional life of work and family until they discovered a traditional music that filled a void deep within them. So they quit their jobs and started singing for a living. Today you'll find them in Boogertown Gap, the place, the band, and the music.
This was our life's dream, to come back here and live in these mountains where our ancestors live, where our families are, because it's such a spiritual place. It just fills you up with wonders. So we made a decision to quit our jobs and bring ourselves and our music back home.
For Ruth Barber and Keith Watson, home is a quiet cottage in Emmert's Cove, where the Little Pigeon River flows through the foothills of the Great Smoky Mountains.
We're self-employed as musicians. We grow a lot of our own food, which helps with the grocery bills, and we stay home a lot.
I think that's what we do mostly, is stay home.
Yeah.
Stay home and tend to things that need to be taken care of around the yard, the house, you know, maintaining it, stuff like that, growing the garden. So, yeah, it's music and home are the two big things in our lives right now.
It hasn't always been so. When they married in 1988, theirs was a 9-to-5 life of work and family. Music was a pleasant pastime, but nothing more. Then they discovered a type of music known as old time.
A friend of mine told me he was a musician and a banjo player and a fiddler, and I invited him over to the house one night to bring his material, and with him he brought this old-time music. And that was it. It was just so remarkable to hear this man play, singularly and soloist, his fiddle and banjo, these old tunes, that we just knew right on the spot that that's the music that we want to play.
My old hen's a good old hen. She lays eggs for the railroad men. Sometimes 8, sometimes 10. That's enough for the railroad men. Cluck, go hen, cluck and sing. You ain't laid an egg since way last spring. Cluck, go hen, cluck and squall. You ain't laid an egg since way last fall.
I grew up in a musical family, and I have a degree in classical music. But the folk music, the traditional folk music, I think fills me more than anything.
My old hen, she won't do. She lays eggs and taters too. First time she cackled in the lot. Next time she cackled in the pot. Cluck, go hen, cluck and sing. You ain't laid an egg since way last spring. Cluck, go hen, cluck and squall. You ain't laid an egg since way last fall.
It just filled a void, I think, that we had in us somehow, culturally and spiritually, to the mountains, to the people, to their heritage of this area. And ever since that point, that's all we've done.
Mm-hmm.
Turned in the bluegrass picks on my fingers, sold the bluegrass banjo, bought a open back banjo more suited to that old style, and off we went.
Off to the mountains, with little more than hope for the future and a love for music deeply rooted in their new home.
Old-time music encompasses the traditional folk music of our country from the first settlers up until about 1920, when we got electricity and then we got the recording and radio industry, and then the music began to change.
The Europeans brought with them all their traditional music that they were playing at the time, along with, their instruments that they were playing, mostly fiddle. And the Africans brought over what eventually became the banjo in America. And they brought with them their tunes, their rhythms, their actual style of playing how I play banjo today, which we call clawhammer.
It was a great American melting pot of music that peaked during the Civil War, as soldiers shared regional tunes or created new ones.
Then when the war was over, everybody went back home, and so this music, this intermingling of music just sort of spread throughout the whole country. All of it. Ballads, fiddle tunes, spirituals, folk songs, whatever. And that's what it's become. And it's become its own sort of genre that includes all of that. After that period, after the radio and recording started, it's all changed into something else. Either country or bluegrass, blues, whatever.
Songs like Cripple Creek, West Fork Gals, Blackjack Davy, Shady Grove, and this one, Waynesboro, reflect a musical history as unique as the place that inspired the name of their band, Boogertown Gap, just a few miles from their home on the river.
My great-grandfather settled there in the 1850s and raised a family out there, a big family. And some of the land that's in his family is still there in the family. And we thought we would try to find some way to use the name of Boogertown to sort of preserve the memory of those people, its culture, the music that was played there.
Sometimes preserving that memory means getting out of their comfort zone.
Gatlinburg is like a carnival or Disney World, but there's no fee to get in. It's free.
It's like a moving escalator on both sides of the street of people. It's crazy, but it's fun.
People just walk up and down the street and eat funnel cakes and eat at restaurants, and there's all kinds of entertainment.
While these crowded city streets don't exactly exude the peace and tranquility of the mountains, they do allow Ruth and Keith to experience the wonderful connective quality of old-time music.
I went down to old Joe's house, he invited me to supper. I stubbed my toe on his table leg, stuck my nose in the butter. Old Joe Clark had a yeller cat, would not sing or pray. Stuck her head in the buttermilk jar, washed her sins away. Fare thee well, old Joe Clark, fare thee well, I say. Fare thee well, old Joe Clark, and wait for the break of day.
It's crowded, it's busy, it's sometimes kind of agitated, but the music that we do brings joy to the people. Many people just keep on walking. They can't be distracted from their destination. But those who do stop and listen, their toes are tapping, they're smiling, they're singing along sometimes.
You get in line and I'll get a pole, honey, honey. You get in line and I'll get a pole, babe. Sugar man, sugar babe. You get in line and I'll get a pole. We'll go down to the crawdad hole, honey, baby mine. One more.
One of the things about old-time music is that it's inclusive. It was never intended to be stage musicians and audience. It was intended for a back porch, and everybody participated. If you didn't have an instrument, you could sing, you could get some spoons or some knitting needles, tap out a rhythm. It was to include everybody, the whole family, the whole community.
Right. It's that being connected to something.
To everybody.
His roots go back so far that he's a direct descendant of the very first white settler here.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Martha Jane Husky Ogle. It's my 5th great-grandmother. And she moved here in 1807.
I got quite a bit of church.
Yeah.
He's got some of that too.
In a world that seems to run faster and faster, their music is a breath, a moment in time that carries on.
Angeline the baker, Angeline the baker is gone. She left me here, shed a tear, beat on the old jawbone.
The joy that people give us back from us playing our music and talking to them is just, you can't describe it. I mean, to see a little girl's face, you know, and just beam up and smile, and her eyes get really big and start clapping or dancing or something like, is just amazing.
Angeline the baker is gone. She left me here, shed a tear, beat on the old jawbone.
When I was young, my grandfather used to dance to this, you know, and it's like it played a little fiddle, that type of thing. But a lot of dancing, a lot of this type of music I was exposed to when I was small in Tennessee. I'm loving it. I think it's just really lively, keeps you happy.
That's what it's about for us, is just bringing joy and some history and some storytelling to people. But it's nice to come back home at the end of the night to quiet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The closer we get to home, the cooler the air temperature gets, the calmer the atmosphere seems to get, and the more peaceful it becomes, absolutely. And by the time we get home, usually the only sound outside are the katydids.
And the river.
And the river.
It is the music that brings them to this place of refreshment and renewal, a confluence of history and art and nature that flows around and through their lives, shaping them anew. They are living the life they choose, becoming one with the music they love.
Hush, little darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird. Say, darling, say. If that mockingbird don't sing, I'm gonna buy you a diamond ring. Say, darling, say.
We're doing what we want to do. We don't have to listen to anybody else evaluate us or tell us how we're doing or what we're doing or anything like that. We can come home and live with our families in these mountains and play the music that we love to play and do it when we want to and how we want to, and conduct our lives the way that we really want to, which is really kind of like the human dream, I think, is to make your own choices in life and be happy and healthy with those choices. And I think we're there.
Say, little darling, would you marry me? We'll build a house by the old oak tree. Say, darling, say. Building a house by the old oak tree. Three little babes sitting on our knees. Say, darling, say. When our children are old and grown, they'll go off and leave us alone. Say, darling, say. They'll go off and leave us alone. Two old coots in a happy home. Say, darling, say. You got a banjo and I got a ring. You pick a tune and I will sing. Say, darling, say. We'll make music like never's been heard. We'll put the shame on the mockingbird. Say, darling, say. Hush, little darling, don't say a word. I'm gonna buy you a mockingbird. Say, darling, say.
Ruth and Keith tell us their children, who are grown and have families of their own, think they've gone a little crazy and like to tease them about their troubadour lifestyle. But Ruth and Keith couldn't be happier, which makes their kids happy too. In the few years they've been living the music full-time, Boogertown Gap has recorded 3 albums, the latest of which features classic old-time ballads that were commonly sung in and around the Great Smoky Mountains.